This is Beer 30 Sports O'Clock. Man, that tastes good. All right. So, on this episode we're going to talk football. I mean, we've got 11 weeks until football season starts. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited. I'm ready for the football season. I've been doing nothing but looking up grades, looking up drafts, looking up scheduling, looking up tickets. Yes, I'm going to games. I'm going to go check out a bunch of different beers and breweries in the cities that I go to because, God forbid, this show doesn't travel anymore or travel in the first place. So let's kick it off, man. So this episode we're going to talk football news, and then we're going to rank. We're going to talk about the football ranks that just came out for the off season. We're also going to talk about who I think is going to win the respective divisions, and I'm going to drink a beer from those respective cities. And tell you how it tastes. And God, I hope this doesn't get miserable. So first and foremost, let's get into it, man. So first off, the rankings that came out on USA Today, everybody's been talking about it in the football world. Who they think did great, who they think did horribly as far as like the off-season drafts and everything like that. So honestly, we're going to stick to, some of the highlights as far as like one of the ones that are the biggest surprises to me is actually the Chicago Bears. A plus. They went out and got their number one pick, whatever. They did go get Keenan Allen, okay. But A plus is a little high for me. Oh yeah, they did actually add DeAndre Swift as well, but it didn't really add anything as far as offensive line, the draft and everything like that. They did what they needed to. They had a good draft. I'm not going to sit up here and be a hater because I am a Packers fan. But I just don't think that they had that great of an offseason to give them an A+. And the one that also is kind of crazy to me, I wouldn't have been this harsh. And I'll say this from the jump. I don't hold punches as far as with this show and everything like that. But I think the Dallas Cowboys getting an F is crazy. They did have a bad offseason. Let's just not act like that didn't happen. But an F, I mean, geez. They still have the same squad that pretty much had last year, except they did lose Tony Pollard, which Tony Pollard was a shell of himself anyway. They did bring back Zeke, who's a good locker room guy. He's not a great running back anymore, but he is worth at least getting some runs in, help any of the younger guys as far as training and stuff like that. Defensively, they didn't really lose anybody. They had a pretty decent draft. Obviously, there's question marks with Dak's contract, CeeDee Lamb's contract, Micah Parsons' contract. I mean, I get that, but jeez. They did lose Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, but as their last game proven, Dan Quinn he couldn't really do anything against Green Bay in their offense. And, the first-year starter, Jordan Love, and the wide receiving core of a bunch of no-names, if you will, right? So I don't know. I think an F is a little harsh. I probably would have went like D, maybe C minus. Because their draft wasn't that bad. Their draft was actually decent. They got some stuff that was necessary. It just, jeez. So anyway, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's just be real about it. Let's just go ahead and get down to what we came to do. My divisional picks. So every episode, we're going to do two divisions. I'm going to pick a beer from each city. I'm going to try the beer, let you know how it tastes, let you know everything. I'm going to give you the picks for that division that I think are going to be good, that are going to win the championship if you will, or win the division, and give you my reasons why. So for those of you that are new, this is what we do. So first and foremost, I would like to talk about the AFC East. Uh, AFC East, I think, is going to be. They went from one of the best. They went from one of the best divisions to like the least amount of divisions. Like it's really sad now how terrible they are. So I'm just looking forward to seeing seeing how it shapes out. I mean, obviously, we don't really need to talk about the Patriots. They're in a rebuild mode. They're ass. They're gonna be playing for draft picks for the entire season. Let's just be real. The Jets. We don't know who we're going to get. We don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy. We don't know if their defense is going to come to play because, I mean, if Aaron Rodgers ain't healthy, their season is pretty much in turmoil anyway. So the defense is going to give up. They traded for Hassan Reddick, and he still ain't with the team. He hasn't signed. What? The Jets are a shit show, and they continue to show that they're a shit show. I mean, I don't know what else to say about them, but it is really, 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 really weird. With that being said, though, let's look at the two teams that finished top of the division last year. First, let's look at the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills lost Diggs. They lost some key players on defense. Trey Day, I believe, is gone now. And actually, let me look at it before I start talking crazy. But their roster is looking kind of depleted. Their roster is looking very old. And if you want to be real, they finished 11-6, tying with Miami. The only difference was they had the tiebreaker as far as winning the game in Miami to take it last year. But losing one of your arguably your number one target. Last year, Diggs had 107 receptions, 1183 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Didn't sound like a great stat sheet for him, right? But if you look at what Allen threw for the year, he threw for 4,300 yards, and 1,200 of those were to Diggs. You lose that to the Texans, and you get in return a young Keon Coleman, I think, is if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Keon Coleman. So, listen, Keon looks like he's going to be a beast out of Florida State, 6'4", 215. He's young, though. So, he's not accustomed to this system. He's not going to take over what Diggs did. Diggs was a phenomenal player, phenomenal receiver, and he's going to make the Texans a threat for real. Also, if you look at the depth chart, their running backs are James Cook, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, and Darrington Evans. I mean, if this is your running back core right now, you're about as bad as the Dallas Cowboys with running the ball. If you take out Josh Allen from running his 15 or 16 touchdowns that he had last year, whatever the case would be. So my question is who's going to take over? Who's going to be the guy to take over and be the top receiver? Because if you look at it, top receiver right now, I mean, is Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and he's like number 2 behind Khalil Shakir, which, I mean, they just seem really young. So for me, I feel like the Bills are going to take a step back, and I think that the new and improved Tua and the Dolphins are going to take a step forward. All the Dolphins have to do in this weak-ass division, this division is weak as fuck, let's just be real, all they have to do is not lose the games that they're not supposed to lose. They have 3 to 4 weak-ass games at home, which we all know that the Dolphins cannot play in cold weather. Playing at home is their thing. They play the Raiders, they play the Cardinals, and they play Jacksonville at home. straight up 3 easy wins sprinkled throughout the season, and then just take care of home. This division, I don't see it being, they could possibly beat the Patriots twice. They could beat the Bills once, and they could beat the Jets twice. And they have a 9 record, a 9 winning record, and winning the division. I don't think they're going to win double digits again, maybe 10, but I don't think they'll do it. I do believe that Miami takes this. They have everything laid out for them in the division. All they have to do is just not lose the games that they're not supposed to lose. They're playing the Titans at home. They're playing, like their first 4 games they could possibly be 3 out of 4, 3-1, starting out the gate. 3 of those games are at home. They have Jags at home, Bills at home. Then they're at the Seahawks. Then they're at home for the Titans, which the Titans, no Derrick Henry, no real threats. We'll see. And then they're at the Patriots early in the season, so it's not going to be that cold. It'll be cold, but it won't be that cold. Then they're at the Colts. Then they're at home versus the Cardinals. And then they're at the Bills when it starts to get chilly. Okay, you take an L there. At the Rams, that's a toss-up, depending on which Rams show up. Then they're at home versus the Patriots, at the Packers in November, which is going to be fucking freezing. So most likely that's a loss. Then they're at home for the Jets. Then they're at the Texans, which is a toss-up because the Texans are good, but we all know that second-year starting quarterback, he may end up having a down year, right? So honestly, man, going through their schedule is easy as hell. I don't know how they got such an easy schedule with damn near winning the division last year. I mean, all they have to do is, like I said, win the games that they're supposed to win, and that's it. And they got a pretty set path to winning the division. Now, how far they go is really up to them. They will probably have a home game, seeing as how their schedule is so easy, but I don't think anybody in their division is seeing them right now because they haven't lost anything. They shored up their wide receivers. Tua is in great shape, apparently, lost a bunch of weight. He's throwing the ball better, stuff like that. And, again, who's going to take it from them? I just don't see it. With that being said, so obviously I said I would drink a beer from the city. So I found a beer called Sun Lab from Miami. It's it's called Mr. Lover Lover. Yo, that's crazy. All right, so we're going to try this. Oh, sounding good. We're going to try this. I like the can. I'm not going to lie, the can's kind of giving the vibe, the Miami Beach vibe. We're here for sunset, Mr. Lover Lovers brewed with orange, mango, lemongrass, coriander, and sea salt. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about the sea salt part at all, or the other. What is it? Coriander? Coriander, whatever. All right, let's try this. Not bad. Ooh, there's an after kick though. Jesus. The after kick is there. You can tell there's lemon in there. I don't really taste any orange whatsoever. Sea salt, you can tell. You can definitely taste the sea salt. It's not bad. It's just not. It's not great. It is 5.7 alcohol. Jesus, 5.7. Miami, they don't want you doing shit. Yeah, nah, it's just it's very, very fucking tart. There's no sweetness to it whatsoever, which is cool, I guess. If you're one of those people that doesn't like sweetness. One of my favorite beers I'm drinking now is Mango Cart. It's, yeah. Oh, need to wash that down. Yeah, no, I'm not feeling this really at all. I'd give that about a 5 out. I'd give that like a 5 out of 10, maybe 4. That after kick is bad. Yeah, so I don't recommend Sun Lab, Mr. Lover Lover, for those who don't like sea salt or lemongrass. But, you know, hopefully somebody down there in Miami can give me a better brewery with a better six-pack of beer that I couldn't find or whatever the case may be, because I don't live in Miami. Because that was not, whew, that was not good. Ugh. So that's the AFC East. Comment below what you think. Subscribe and comments. Let me know. Hey man, you're bugging. The AFC East is wide open. The Bills can do it. The Jets can do it. Whatever you think as far as the division being won, I just don't see it because they are the Bills, like I said, have taken a step back. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I mean, the step back is real. Like they lost their number one receiver, they lost some key components in their secondary, and you know their injuries that they sustained last year, I don't foresee them overcoming to get to the playoffs and deep in the playoffs again. Josh Allen is a great quarterback, but he ain't gonna get it done all by himself. It's a team sport, and he can't be all of your offense. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. Moving on to the AFC South. Yes, the AFC South. We just talked about them with the Miami Dolphins, and they are going to see the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you know Miami or the AFC East is facing the AFC South. Another reason why I think the Bills is going to be tough. But that beer was bad. Oh, yeah. So y'all can see Sun Lab. Yeah, don't recommend. Don't recommend. So let's get to it. So first up, the AFC South. You have the Colts, the Titans, the Jags, and the Texans. So I do think out of everyone in the offseason that had a pretty good offseason, I would have to say that the Houston Texans had a pretty good offseason. I hate to say it. I'm not a big fan of them. I'm not a big of their fan base. Well, some of their fan base. I got some friends that are Houston Texans fans, and I just can't. Yeah. So, but Jacksonville to me actually had a worse offseason than they did, than the Texans did. They paid Trevor Lawrence. Who literally had 60 interceptions and 69 touchdowns. I feel like the Scooby-Doo mask should be, pulled over and like you see Jameis Winston and then you see it's actually Trevor Lawrence. Like that's really probably how we should do that because, I mean, he's borderline there, but now he's, one of the highest, if not the highest paid wide receiver. They just didn't really do it for me in the draft either. Honestly, the truth be told, the Colts actually probably going to take a step forward past them. They're just not there yet. They're just not ready yet. Excuse me. Oh, trying to get all that Sun Lab out. They're just not there yet. I don't think that the Colts are going to be a force to be reckoned with yet. I do think that they're going to get it together in the next year or so, though. They may surprise some people out this year. They had a really good offseason. USA Today gave them A-. I would give them probably the same thing. They had a pretty good draft. They just stayed quiet, consistent. Anthony Richardson, as long as he stays healthy, could be a force to be reckoned with. The Tennessee Titans, on the other hand, I don't really love anything they did. I don't really know, I guess the future is Will Levis. I don't know. Like, they just really didn't do anything to get him, they didn't get any help for him. They lost Derrick Henry. They grabbed Pollard. They grabbed Ridley. They got it's going to be a running back by committee, I'm sure. But their offensive line, they shored up. They paid a lot for that center. Was it Cushenberry? I just don't know if they're going to step up and be. I just don't know if they're going to step up and do anything this year. I mean, I think honestly the AFC South is probably one of the most confusing divisions of all the divisions because you really don't know what you're going to get. You could get a second-year slump from C.J. Stroud. You could get a second-year, breakout from Anthony Richardson because he was injured most of the year. You could get, the Tennessee Titans, Will Levis have a breakout year. And then Jacksonville, with what's his name, with Trevor getting paid, you could have him just say, all right, now I have nothing to worry about. I'm just going to slang it, whatever the case would be. Pause. But you know what I'm saying? You never know. You don't really know with this division. So this division is going to be really, really, really funny to see or fun to watch. I won't say funny. I'll say fun to watch because the simple fact is that if they do end up being a really good division, if they do, Jacksonville does end up taking that step with Trevor, and Trevor ended up taking that step above because honestly, he threw a lot of interceptions last year, and it does not. Yeah, so he's I'm saying he's throwing a lot of interceptions, whereas his counterparts are not. You know what I mean? So it's just really, 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 really hard to say, right? And then on top of that, you have to look at their division is really tough. So you have to look at, for instance, Houston. Houston, I think, is the ones the Texans are going to actually win this division. I see their schedule. They face at the Colts, which pretty whatever. They got Diggs now, so they added a bunch of pieces they added a couple pieces that they needed, right? They have Stroud, who's becoming a superstar, who's becoming a star. I won't say superstar yet, but he's becoming a star. You have Diggs adding to that already crazy fast wide receiver core that they already had. Diggs is older, but still he's a dog still. They face the AFC North. Or NFC North, excuse me, the AFC East, and then obviously their own division, and I believe they sprinkle in a couple of tough games in there for them. The AFC East, like I said before earlier, they're not really that tough for competitors. You get the Patriots, in October. You get the Bills at home. You get the Bears at home. You get at Minnesota, who's rookie quarterback, and Justin Jefferson just got so, but Vikings really aren't that big of a threat. They're at the Packers in October, so it won't be too cold, so they might be all right. Then they get the Colts at home, at the Jets, and then they get the Lions at the Cowboys. Then it's just really kind of downhill from there because they get the Titans, Jags. They get the Titans at home, and then they get the Jags and Dolphins at home. And then, it gets a little tougher at the Chiefs, Ravens, and at the Titans to end it. I do think they have one of the tougher schedules in the AFC South, but the gauntlet that they have to go through, I think if they sweep, I think they may sweep Jacksonville because I don't think Jacksonville is really that tough. They may sweep, they're going to sweep the Titans, most likely. And they may sweep the Colts. Depends on which Colts show up. Again, if the Colts show up and Anthony Richardson is healthy and running, and I think they're going to surprise a couple people, they may split that one with them. But if Anthony Richardson doesn't show up and go crazy, then yeah, you're probably looking at the Texans squeaking it out and taking this division. Honestly, I feel like this division is kind of you don't know kind of division because of some fact, we know with the AFC East division, there's only two teams to talk about. There's in the AFC South, there's really low key 3 teams to talk about because the Jags, their schedule is not crazy either. Although they do face the Browns, which depending on which Browns they get the Bears, then they get the Bears, Patriots, Packers all at home, and the Colts all at home in the month of October, which is great for them, you know what I'm saying, because of the weather. And then, they get the Vikings at home. They get the Jets at home. They're at the Raiders, and then they get the Titans at home. Man, they have an easier schedule. You just don't know who you're gonna get. You just don't know if you're gonna get the. I know we all know for a fact it's been proven. Every time somebody gets a big contract, they kind of like go to sleep. The Burrows, the Watsons, I mean, a lot of people. It's happened. It's history. Only ones. There are some outliers, obviously, Pat Mahomes and stuff like that. But like, he's like God tier level, and the rest of these cats are like fighting to be in that tier level. Let's just be honest, right? And Trevor Lawrence ain't nowhere near in that. He's at the bottom of that vicinity. To me, he's like in the middle of the pack to the bottom, towards yeah. So me personally, I just don't see them coming out winning a lot of these games. I think they'll lose to the Texans. I know they're going to lose to the Lions. They may end up losing a lot of those home games or half of those home games with the Bears. I think the Packers, the Bears, possibly depending on how really good it looks. The Texans, I think they'll lose. The Jets, they'll win that one. The Browns, they could possibly lose. I mean, it's tough, man. They're not going to just walk through this season and do numbers. I do think they have a softer schedule than the Texans, but I think that the Houston Texans, as much as I hate to say it, they're set up to win their division. They're set up. They have a great coach in D'Amico Ryans. They have a good defense. He brings out the best in his defense. They drafted well. The offseason, they didn't lose anybody. They added one of the top receivers in the league already with a crazy wide receiver core, fast as hell wide receiver core already, and they shored up one of them as well. They just paid, I think it's Miko, whatever. They paid somebody. I don't know who was it they just paid. Man, I just lost it. But they paid the other receiver as well. They did what they were supposed to do, man. Honest to God truth, they did what they were supposed to do as far as this offseason went. And I feel like I said, as much as I hate to say it, I think the Texans are going to win this division. I think the division is very questionable, up for grabs, if you will, because there are three probably pretty good teams, good to pretty good to possibly great teams in that division. Whereas, for instance, like the AFC East, there's really like two in that division. You know what I mean? So I do have a beer. Let's see, where is it at? There it is. I do have a beer from Houston, Carback Brewing Company, Love Street Citrus. Oh my God, are we just drinking fruit around here? That's just what we're drinking. Pause. Or fruity around here. That wasn't a pause moment. Take that back. So I like the can. I'm not gonna lie. It's blue and orange, kind of like the Astros, if you will. I'm not really a big Astros fan, but I do like the can. Carbot Company. I've had some of their beers before. Music to your beer. I like that. Okay. All right. So let's see what this is about. Damn, this is a bright ass can, a little bitty ass writing. Trying to make me go blind. This is only 4.8. Okay. Okay. And it says recycle, damn it. Okay. Cute Carbach. I rock with it. Citrus wheat. Squeeze of sunshine. All right. Enough talking about it. Let's try it. Let's see what this is about. Oh, much better. Much better. Okay. Now I feel better about my pick. Now I felt really questionable about my Miami pick after Sun Lab, but now I feel really good about my pick. Thank you, Carbach. This was actually pretty good. It's not too fruity. It tastes like beer. If you're like, if you are an in-between ale and IPA kind of guy, like if you don't like the heaviness of the IPA, this will probably be good for you. It's Yeah, it's a good wheat beer, I guess. And I don't know. Yeah, and it's brewed in Houston, Texas. So yeah, I can rock with this. This might be getting drunk for the rest of the show. Uh, whew, you slow down a little bit. But with that said, those are my picks for this episode. We do we are going to have more episodes for this. It's going to be next up. It's going to be the AFC North and the AFC West. Comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. Diggs wasn't that big of a loss. Blah 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 blah. Let me know if you think I'm crazy and you think Trevor Lawrence Sunshine is going to rock and destroy the Sunshine State. I just don't see it. So hopefully you can prove me wrong, but I don't know. We'll see. So until next time, this is Beer 30 Sports O'Clock. Thank you for checking us out.